Hey everybody, Nick from Mossy Creek with this week's fishing forecast. Today is Monday, August 23rd. So looking at this week as far as weather goes, going to be pretty hot. Looks like highs in like the lower 90s most days this week. Slight chances of rain, maybe some afternoon thunderstorms at best that we can hope for, but it does look to be kind of dry and hot again. So back into that cycle that we had been looking at. As far as trout goes, the Shenandoah National Park, if you haven't heard, they've closed all trout streams and all fishing within park boundaries until further notice. So keep an eye on that, as well as Beaver Creek. The Beaver Creek public section is also closed until further notice. With Beaver Creek, we will, and the park, we'll keep you guys posted if any of that changes, but it's probably going to take some significant kind of consistent rain to fill all the groundwater back up and get things where it doesn't flow through quickly. We got a little bit of rain last week, not quite what we had hoped for. A lot of those mountain streams are kind of back into play, or back to where they were. So, we're kind of laying off them for now. It's marginal at best. A lot of those fish are congregated in pools, just trying to get by until we have better flow. So we'll look for kind of some consistent rain before a lot of those mountain streams are in really great shape. Tailwaters and spring creeks like Mossy Creek, Spring Run are going to be some of your best bets if you want to go trout fishing. Tricos in the mornings, hoppers throughout the day, beetles, just different terrestrials, and hexes in the evenings. I was on Mossy Creek the last couple of evenings checking things out. A lot of hexes coming off. Throughout the day, you'll see some of the big duns hatching. If you see a mayfly that looks like a small bird, that's probably a hex. They're huge flies. You can fish them in like 10s and 8s. Extended body hex patterns are great, but also a lot of times I'll just use like a hopper pattern or some other terrestrial, cut off the legs and give it kind of that same profile. The Schroeder's parachute hopper, darker PMXs, even some other just standard foam hopper patterns do a pretty good job imitating that hex. It's big. The spinner specifically is kind of a dark brown, so that brown parachute hopper, like I was saying, does a pretty excellent job imitating that. I've used that for years now with a lot of success. So, if you're fishing for the day, don't leave too early. If you can stay till the evening, a lot of times those last like 30 minutes of light is when that spinner fall really picks up. And if you haven't fished the hex hatch before, fish can go pretty crazy for it. A mayfly that's that big provides a lot of food and it is worth them, spending a lot of time and energy on it. So hit those spring creeks where the water's nice and cool. Fish terrestrials, a lot of fun dry fly fishing to be had. So, until we get more water for the mountain streams, still some good fishing. The river, it got a great little bump last week. It never really got super critically high, just enough to kind of bump the river up a little bit. We're right now just above average flow, back to things kind of lowering and clearing up a good bit. So as far as the fishing goes, very similar to kind of what we've been preaching the last few weeks. A lot of topwater fishing with this clarity coming back, fishing big bugs, deer hair, frogs, and swimming minnows and that kind of stuff can be good even throughout the day. And crayfish patterns, baitfish pattern, hellgrammite patterns, the standard. So as things get lower, go back to sometimes fishing smaller flies, having long leaders, being stealthy as we look to that. So barring any afternoon thunderstorms, that's probably what we're looking at for the next week or so. Give us a call if you have any questions about anything specific. We're here to answer that all the time. But until then, enjoy the fishing and we'll see you next week.